Hey guys, welcome back to the call room for the final episode, episode 8, with the amazing Hannah Miley, and she will hopefully be joining us very soon. So we'll just wait for Hannah to come in. Thank you to everyone that's joined me through this series so far. It's been a really, really great one, to be honest. I've really enjoyed it, and every single guest has been fantastic. So I'm sure we're going to finish with a great last guest. Just wait for Hannah to come in and join us live. So yeah, but no, thanks for joining. This is going to be a longest I've waited. Here we go. Right, okay. Here comes Hannah. Let's get her in here. Hopefully she can join easily today. I've had some issues before, so hopefully she'll pop in any second now. There she is.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Not too bad. Cold. Typical Scotland. It's freezing.
There we go. It's freezing. Yeah, I know. Actually, it's probably colder where you are than where I am. So. Thanks for joining me on the final episode of the call room.
No
it's
worries.
So
Thanks
nice
for
to have you here. Yeah, no, it's. I wanted a good special one to finish me off. So who better than Hannah Miley, eh? So I'd love you to just introduce yourself to everyone first, Hannah, and let everyone know who you are. I'm sure they already know, but go for
it. My name is Hannah Miley. I am a triple Olympian and double Commonwealth champion. Splashed around for quite a few years now, coached by my dad, and hoping to try and get on the team for Tokyo 2021.
Amazing. And in about 30 seconds, you've just absolutely made everyone be in absolute awe of you, Hannah. So well done for that. The first question that I like to ask every guest that comes on, due to the name, what type of call room athlete are you? And just while I give you a couple of seconds to think what your answer is going to be, just quickly to everyone, the call room is the room that athletes go to before they compete to get mentally and physically ready for the race and to race at their best. So Hannah, what type of call room athlete are you?
I'd say to start with, when I was younger, I used to be a very chatty person. I used to go in and speak to everyone and anyone, whereas now I like having really good tunes and meeting up with obviously swimmers and friends that I know that are going to be in the same race and heat, but I'm a bit more chilled out. I've got my little sort of pre-race routine, my sort of like jumps and arm swings, and I've kind of got like a little physical routine that I normally go through. So yeah, I don't really know how to describe it. I'd say I'm an athlete that loves to listen to music and who loves to kind of jump around and move around.
Any particular tunes?
Oh, I've got quite an eclectic mix. Currently, my sort of go-to playlist involves a band called Elephant Sessions. They are kind of like a Celtic group up in the Highlands. Got some really nice notes, words, but just kind of nice Celtic music. Something that's maybe in the charts, or something that's on Spotify that's kind of maybe a little bit maybe not mainstream. So I've got a really weird mix. It just depends how I feel, and I never have the same playlist. I always try and change up my music on each competition, so keeps it fresh, keeps it exciting.
A real mix in there, but that's pretty cool. I'd love to listen to it whilst you're walking out to a race, just to know what you were listening to.
I'll send you a song so you know what the extremes will be.
Yeah, do. That'd be great. I'd love that. Right, so quick fire round first. I love this round. Don't think too much. Just go for it. So we're going to start with this one because I love it. Individual bronze or relay gold?
Individual bronze.
Okay. Morning training or afternoon training?
Morning training.
If not swimming, then what would it be?
Either between rock climbing and dancing.
I had rock climbing in my head, but I didn't have dancing, so that's interesting. Well, if you're forced to dance every time a song comes on, or forced to sing every time a song comes on?
The the first song that popped into my head was the Macarena, but I really don't know.
You can
I
do the
would,
Macarena if you choose
no, no, no.
dancing.
I'd probably go with Crazy by Beyonce. Crazy Right Now
Okay,
by
okay.
Beyonce.
Swim at 100 miles an hour or be able to fly at 10 miles an hour.
Ooh. Fly. Just so I
Okay.
can see the scenery going past.
Yeah, no, okay. Would you rather have a cat with a dog's personality or a dog with a cat's personality?
Can I pick both?
I mean, yeah, sure. Johanna Miley, you can do what you want. You can rewrite the rules.
I'll pick both. I'll be annoying and pick both.
Okay, you can pick both. I think I know this question, the answer to this, but favourite swimming brand?
Arena.
Yeah. Tea or coffee?
Neither. Hot chocolate for me.
Okay, okay, that's fine. I'll give you that. If you had to switch nationalities to outside of the UK and all that, where would you choose?
Does Ireland count?
I
I would pick
mean,
Ireland.
you can pick Ireland if you want. I was hoping you'd go with like Jamaica or something like that. That'd be cool, you know.
Um, yeah,
Not
I've
that
got
Ireland isn't cool.
no, no, no. I've got a family over in Ireland, and I was very close to actually at one point becoming Irish.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh
I've done a bit
wow.
of training with the Irish team, so I kind of feel for me they're kind of like my second home.
Ah.
That's where the Mad Mile.
Ah, didn't know that. Excellent.
Yeah,
Kick or pull?
kick.
Okay. Rank the strokes, your favourite to least favourite.
Oh dear. Um, breaststroke, fly, free back.
Ah,
Sorry.
okay. Is that because of me? That's why I
No,
backstrokes
no, no,
fly.
no. No, yeah, I kind of need to. I'm. If it was a couple of years ago, it would have changed. I mean, that's the thing with the medley. You kind of
Yeah,
change your stroke strengths all the time. So at the
yeah.
minute, I know my backstroke's kind of been my weakest stroke because I've obviously had issues with my shoulder. But
Mm.
hopefully now that it's been fixed, I'd like to think my backstroke can now be maybe number one. So we'll wait and
Yeah,
see.
it can be. It can be. I know it.
I'm
Do you
going
prefer to race outside or inside?
to. Ooh. Hmm. If it's, I prefer outdoors if it was nice, warm, and sunny.
Yeah, okay.
I'd be
Yeah,
outdoors.
I get that.
More exciting.
If you had to switch your main event but be exactly the same standard in it,
Mhm.
what event would you go to?
I'd love to be a 50 freestyler.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
amazing. Like, but I know I need to be a little bit taller and just have that explosive power. But yeah, I think the 50 and the 100 free, just they're very specialized events and got huge admiration for them. And it's one event that I just wish I could do really well. But yeah.
Yeah. No, good answer. Favorite Disney film?
Ah, it's kind of a mix up between The Lion King and Moana.
Okay, okay. Popular answers. And your favorite pool in the UK?
Um, ah, Kind of mixed. I do love Sheffield. I've got a lot of good memories with Sheffield, probably between Sheffield and Glasgow, because again,
Okay.
there's a lot of history in both those pools for me,
Mhm.
growing up in my
Mhm.
career. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Definitely. Two great pools there.
yeah.
Yeah, two great pools. Okay, so we're going to go straight into the questions, and I'm going to make you lose all your friends bar one, and that's going to be so sorry, and that's going to be your favourite ever teammate.
Ah, well, you.
If you can't answer it, well, yeah. Apart from me, obviously. Um, if
I
there's a
love,
few, then I'll give you a few.
yeah. I love being able to room with the girls from Sheffield, so Ellie Faulkner and Rebecca Turner. I love the
Great
work
girls.
ethic of Team Steel. And just their energy was just incredible. But I'm not the type of person that kind of likes one person. I do like everybody on the team, but if I had to narrow it down from the whole team to maybe a couple, I would probably pick the Sheffield girls, both Ellie Faulkner and Rebecca Turner.
Two
Being on
great
the
girls.
BB teams,
Yeah.
were good fun with them.
Oh yeah, so they're great picks. Yeah, I'm happy with those. Not that it matters, but I'm happy with those.
I think you can say as
um,
well. I remember European Shortcuts in when we were in France, rooming with Lucy Spencer, and I think you were in the room next door. Was it
yeah,
with Smith? I just remember
Yeah.
a little four. So yeah, Lucy Spencer, Ellie Faulkner, and Rebecca Turner were, yeah, they're good fun.
Yeah,
And you.
no, definitely. Well, yeah, obviously. Someone just asked in the comments then, great question. Would you ever take part in the ISL?
Yes, I actually was in season one. I was
Mm,
part of Aqua Centurions, and
mhm.
it was amazing. Like the team spirit was incredible. I mean, it's really difficult to describe because when you're part of like a British swimming team, you've got great team morale, but there was just something that took it up an extra notch. Like when you watch the American team, just that whole camaraderie and togetherness, it was just even more so, but it felt more natural. It didn't feel like it was being forced upon you. You just naturally got behind your team and supported it. And being with the Italians as well was great because lots of bilingual, sometimes the team meetings were in Italian, so we had to get someone to help translate.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and just knowing that you got different nationalities on your team and you weren't just, it wasn't just the British that you were teammates with, it was the Italians, it was the Germans, it was the Australians, the Americans, like everybody. So it just made you love the sport even more. So yeah, so it was great, and it was lovely being able to watch. I felt gutted that I wasn't able to take part, but it was so exciting to have those 6 weeks of just, you know, looking forward to the weekends to watch the racing and get behind everybody and sort of seeing how everyone was getting on.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, both season one and two looked amazing. So yeah, great, fantastic event. My next question, probably the most important one today, is how are you? Because you've just had surgery. So yeah, tell us how you are, what you've just been through, and the
Yeah.
process now to get back.
So yeah, so it's been an interesting kind of journey. So 4.5 weeks post-operation, I am now currently in the process of booting out my sling. This was the sling that I had on.
Wow, that is a sling as well.
I know, it is a very, it's a great wee table. So it basically kept my arm, uh, stopping my arm from going into any internal, external rotation. So I was
Right.
literally like a robot with my hand just being,
Oh,
I had to sleep with it like that as well.
shaking everyone's hand.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I've been having issues with my shoulder for a wee bit. We found out the last like maybe 3 4 years, but it wasn't until March 2020 when I was racing at Edinburgh International that it literally fell apart, and I got to the point where I actually couldn't race a final at the Edinburgh International, and I was just beside myself. And then COVID
mm,
happened, and then it was just like, oh my goodness, now what? I had all these
mm,
great plans of trying to qualify for the Olympic team, and then hopefully retiring this year, and then that was going to be it. So everything's just kind of completely changed. So I've gone through quite a mixture of emotions during lockdown. I was, I guess, in a little bit of a fog. What I did to help myself get through it was jump on Zoom workouts with the team, trying to offer any help to other swimmers, speak to clubs, just to try and offer my experience and I guess look back at my career as well and kind of see how far I come. Because I think sometimes we can be our own worst enemies and be quite harsh on ourselves and think that we're not good enough. And it's given me an opportunity when working with some of the other clubs to actually look back and be like, actually, things were pretty good. Like, I can be really proud of what I've done and learn to appreciate it a little bit more and actually learn from it more because I think you don't have a good appreciation of it. You live through it and then you move on to the next thing. So it was nice reliving some of those things. And then when we started getting back in the pool, I was trying to look at different things for training. I love thinking outside the box, so tried a bit of open water swimming. In March in Scotland, tried the North Sea. It was 3 degrees. Didn't I think I lasted
oh,
about minutes.
you
um,
lasted
and
longer than I would have. Toe in, nope.
And the thing is, I was kitted out with like neoprene socks, the whole wetsuit, the gloves, the
Really?
balaclava. And I got my body in, and my body was fine, but I just could not get my head underwater. I was going doing breaststroke, going, yeah, this is.
Yeah.
So once we got to about April, May time, things started to warm up.
Mm,
There's a lock
mm,
that, yeah, in
mm,
relative terms, there was a lock
yeah.
that we got in. I was able to do a bit of swimming there, and just being in the water, it made me appreciate the little things because I just love the moment of it and working with other people and trying to help other swimmers and not just swimmers, triathletes, or anybody who just wants a bit more in swimming. I've been doing Pilates teachers training as well, so understanding how the body moves. So yes, I've kind of found little things like that. And then obviously with my shoulder, that was about maybe 2 months ago, I had to go and get another scan and it was confirmed that I had a tear in my rotator cuff, my supraspinatus muscle. So about a 2 centimeter tear, which apparently is quite significant. And
Yeah.
apparently the tear had been there since like 2017, 2018, and it just
Wow.
got bigger. So there was no other way. I either had to get surgery now or I could delay it, but I could run the risk of it getting bigger and it would just mess up my training quite a fair bit. So yeah, I kind of opted to have the surgery now to get it done, to get it fixed, and then kind of see what happens. So again, psychologically kind of going through the whole process of being told, again, the plans that I thought I'd settled, right, Olympics are going to be next year, get myself set up for that, and then it was another hurdle. So I kind of come to terms with it. And again, it's been great to just take the little bit of pressure off. That for me, just being able to get up into streamline. Like I can now put my arms in the streamline position, which I couldn't do 4 weeks ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
again, just like that, make it all the more, just make it all the more special. And I kind of understand the journey a little bit better. So yeah, so things are going good. I've just waffled so much there, but
No, it's good.
it's
Waffle, please.
yeah, it's been good. It's been tough. It's been incredibly tough, and I know there's a lot of athletes and a lot of individuals out there that have really, really suffered and struggled through COVID, and it's not fair for everybody, and it's not nice, but it's something that I think each of us has to kind of experience to understand how resilient we are as individuals. Resiliency gets thrown around a lot as a word that, as an athlete, you are automatically resilient, but how many of us actually understand what that word means? And the pandemic's actually given me a huge insight that you don't have to be just a sports person to be resilient. You know, for everybody to adhere to the rules, to try and cope and manage with all the different things that were happening. My partner, all his work was gone, so he ended up having to go to Tesco's to stack shelves. He's got a master's in architecture, and he's like, I never thought I'd be stacking shelves at Tesco's, but he's got a completely different outlook now and appreciation for those little things. And everybody's lives have just been turned upside down, and you don't know how resilient you are until you're faced with a situation that puts you in that position. And for me, my mantra's just been keep moving forwards, find ways to keep yourself moving forward and help others as well. So yeah, so it's been good. It's not been amazing, but I've made it work as best I can.
Yes. No, and that's fantastic. And some of the things you said there, again, there'll be people watching that it will help them massively as well. You know, you're right, it hasn't been an easy time at all. And so whatever you can do to stay positive and get through it is what you've got to do. And, you know, resilience, you're right, it gets thrown about a lot, but this year has definitely taught us how to really be resilient and get through things. Okay, so my next question, I love this one. I love talking to people about this. This one is, what's been the highest moment of your career so far? Now, I have an idea, but I'd love to hear what you say to this question.
There's kind of been two moments. The first one was defending my title at the Commonwealth Games. That was kind of a big deal because the year leading into it was really quite rough. It was the first time, because Amy Wilmot was on such a huge trajectory. She was doing incredibly well, and she started beating me for the first time. It's the first time in Britain I'd been beaten for a wee while, and it gave me quite a big shock, but it was great because she really challenged me and pushed me, and she just took it to another level. And when I raced her, she just kept kicking my butt. And I was really struggling because I felt like I was working so hard and I just wasn't seeing the results in the times that I thought I'd be doing. So I had to rely a lot on my dad, my coach, to tell me to be patient, to keep reminding myself that, you know, it's not about racing fast now, it's about the summer. And then 8 weeks beforehand, my left shoulder decided to pack in again, and I had issues with that. And it just all came together in that one moment. And I remember my dad wasn't on the team as a coach, and I snuck out the village and met up with my dad at the petrol station. And we just chatted on the wall at the petrol station, and just kind of went through race tactics. And he then kind of stopped me and just said, look, just race. He's like, just enjoy it. You've done all the hard work, and all you need to do is just do what you've done and enjoyed over these many, many years that you've been swimming, and just race. He's like, all the hard work is done. You just need to go and just enjoy it. So I remember going behind the blocks, and I decided at the last minute to change my race strategy a little bit. Normally I tend to hold back on the fly, and then I kind of try and come through in the breaststroke. But I kind of knew that if I wanted to make a difference, I'd have to change things a little bit. So I decided to push my first 100 fly pretty strong, which in a 400 medley can be suicidal.
Yes.
And yeah, and it was the fastest my PB for 100 flies like a 101.8, and I went out in a 102.0. So it was pretty swift.
Yeah,
But
that is
it,
swift.
it, yeah, and it paid off because I think having Amy there just helped. Just, yeah, it was just about the race. You know, the time was secondary. It was just about pure and utter sportsman, just race and touching the wall and sort of seeing that I'd won, and then seeing that my time as well afterwards. Everything just kind of clicked into place, and it just felt like relief. There was like tears of joy, tears of relief, and then tears of, okay, I've been doubting myself for so long, and actually I should have been supporting myself. I should have actually realized that I could do it. So standing on that podium was a huge mixture of emotions for me, and that was just, and it was lovely. And it was not just the moment, it was what happened afterwards. Like afterwards, I got this letter from this guy called Ken McKay, and he didn't know my address. All it had was Hannah Miley, Commonwealth gold medalist, Scotland, and it ended up on my doorstep in
Oh,
Inverurie.
nice. Fair enough. That's cool.
He'd written a letter saying that he watched my swim and he'd been in a really dark place because his wife had passed away a couple of weeks before the games had started, and she was a big swimmer. She was due to present medals for the 200 breaststroke at the games, and he said that I reminded him so much of her, and I was in tears reading this letter, and I've still got this
I've
letter.
just got goosebumps from that.
Oh, and I got to meet him a couple of weeks afterwards.
Wow.
So that one moment in Glasgow allowed me to meet this incredible person who had such
Mm.
history in swimming, who had such a love for swimming, and him and his wife traveled the world doing master swimming, and it was just such a lovely story, and I feel so privileged and honored to have met them. And yeah, so for me, that cements is like one of my highlights. And the other one, which I kind of want to put out there as well, was Rio, because there was a couple of years after Rio where I would have thought, no, that's one of my worst moments of my life. But actually, I've learned to really appreciate that moment because it's
Mm.
taught me a lot. It taught me to kind of grow up a little bit more in swimming and realize that I'm worth a lot more than just the medal. My
Mm.
successes are more than the podium wins. Coming
Mm.
fourth by 15 hundredths of a second was one of the hardest moments of my career, but at the same time, it was one of my best because it learned that I had given my all and there was nothing else I could have done. I had no control over my competitors. That was my moment. And I beat myself up for so long afterwards that I realized that it was quite damaging and not healthy. And I've learned to actually be really proud of that moment. And to come fourth at an Olympic Games, I was kind of like, you know what, I can't, I can't be
I'd love to be
ungrateful.
able to say I came fourth at an Olympics, Hannah. So
Yeah, I'm very grateful for that moment. And
yeah,
actually, I can't, you know, for me, that is on the same level as my Commonwealth moment as well. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah. Um, I'm going to talk for a minute just because wanted to talk in this episode a bit about you because a couple of episodes ago, and I know I got you to look as well. I had a guest on who was talking about someone in their career who's a bit older who was really pivotal. I've just nearly knocked the table over. Who was really pivotal in their swimming career, and you were one of those people. Well, probably the person on the team for me. I used to watch you on TV and was like, oh, wow, Hannah Miley, you know, and you were just amazing. You are amazing, but you were amazing. And then I made the team, and I remember sitting at the holding camp, sitting next to you, and we were at dinner, and I was just like, wow, like Hannah Miley sat next to me, and we're on the same team, and you know, and out on the outside, I'm like, yeah, this is all cool, you know, whatever. But I was just like, wow. And you really looked after me on my first team. I think it was Chartres, I think short course, which was where you sat at the back of the bus, made sure I was all right, and all that sort of stuff. And then you were there through my whole career, and you always made sure that I was good when I saw you on poolside and everything, and just lovely. And then you were there for my last race. It was the Winter Nationals 50 back. And I was fine. I touched the wall. I knew it was going to be my last race in the UK. And I was fine when I touched the wall. I was fine. I went over to Phoebe, who had raced, and I was fine. Got out. I was like, this is fine. I'm not going to cry. This is all good. And then I walked down the poolside, got to the bit where Hannah Miley's bit is in Pons Forge, and just burst into tears because I saw your face. And I was like, cheers, Hannah. I was strong up until then. But you were just so special all the way through my career, and so was your dad, Patrick, as well. First question was, did you have someone like that in your career? who was maybe older on the team or not. I don't know if I was just lucky. And what's it like having your coach as your dad, or your dad as your coach? And how is that with roles? And is it easy? Is it hard? You know, what does that bring to the table that maybe it wouldn't bring otherwise?
Yeah, they're both very, very good questions. I kind of felt when I was growing up, I always felt sort of the odd one out. I don't know whether it was because living up in the northeast of Scotland, you kind of feel a little bit away from, you're not in the big city, you're just in this little town. I was in a 4-lane, 25-meter pool. It took forever to drive to anywhere, like even to get to Glasgow's 3.5 hours. So whenever we got on teams, everyone sort of clicked together in big groups because they all knew each other. So I always felt I was on the outside. And I guess I kind of like making friends, but I guess for me, my main idol was Misty Hyman. She was an American swimmer, so I only actually recently just got to meet her at the age of 30.
Really? Oh, nice.
And it was who she was as an individual that hugely inspired me. Her swim from the Sydney Olympics, I remember watching it when I was 10 years old, and she caused one of the biggest upsets in, I think, swimming history for the Australians. But it was just who she was as a person. They go through each of the individual athletes, and everyone had their goggles on. They were in the zone. They were focused. Nobody was smiling. You know, some would wave to the crowd, but when it got to Misty, she had her goggles up, the biggest grin on her face, and she was just loving life. Like, she had her hands in the air, waving to the crowd, taking it all in. And I thought, that's the Olympic final. Like, imagine knowing that you've done all the work to the point where all you have to do is just enjoy and live the moment. And like, her swim as well still gives me goosebumps. And she just seemed like such a genuine, down-to-earth person. And I remember, like, even sending her a little message, just like, trying to ask her some questions, and she replied back to me, and just how open and honest she was, I kind of really aspired, and that inspired me as well. So I guess I kind of felt a little bit shy to start with when it came to teams. I was quite happy being on my own, or quite happy kind of keeping myself to myself, and if anybody wanted to talk to me, I'd open up and kind of be really happy to speak to other people. And then I guess it was from like 2012 when I got to meet you and a lot of the other sort of swimmers on the team, and you know, we kind of talked about, like, you know, you kind of enjoyed the little quirkiness that I had, which was awesome. But, you know, my favorite Welsh word is microwave, you know, pop the ping.
Pop the ping. That was a question on TV the other day, and I was like, Mum, I know the answer. She's like, no. I was like, Mum, pop the ping. You just watch.
And just little things like that. I mean, even I went to watch the Olympic trials in 2000, and we got these posters, and I had posters of Mark Foster, James Hickman, Steve Parry, Graham Smith, and I had no idea where you had to pay for the posters. I remember just taking one of each, and I just hung over the edge trying to get someone to see if they would sign it, and I think the only person who signed it for me was Graham Smith. And even then, that interaction and that moment where he took the time to sign it for me made a huge impact for me. So those little moments really did, I guess, kind of help shape me to be the athlete that I am today. Having my dad as my coach is kind of one of the questions that always gets asked. And to be honest, I've never really known it any other way. My dad and I guess, have got quite an intense relationship in a sense that he was involved in swimming long before I came along. So if anybody's used a device that I think like a tempo trainer that you put under your hat, you can beep for stroke rates or beep for pace. He can thank my dad for that. He developed a device called an aquapacer, I think back in 1996, and
I was 1 year old at that point. Carry
on. He developed it around then. I think I was like five or six, and I was kind of the guinea pig that you kind of would, you know, stick it on, and I'd be swimming along going, yeah, I'm just beeping, just beeping along. But he worked with a lot of Olympic athletes, you know, across the world, explaining to the coaches the device. And I think it was something like 1 in 3 Olympic medalists at the Sydney Olympics had used, gold medalists at the Sydney Olympics had used the aquapacer. So he knew quite a fair bit on swimming. He'd gone to programs, he'd worked with Olympic medalists and all that. And then he'd come back and he was a volunteer coach. He wasn't a full-time paid coach. He was a helicopter pilot. And he taught me how to swim. And I kind of enjoyed it. I found, you know, I could trip over on a flat floor. I was just so much better coordinated in water than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved the connection that we had. You know, we'd go in competitions together, and I just wanted to make him proud. That was the ultimate thing. The faster I swam, the sort of happier I felt I could make him. And I always felt I just wanted to please him. But it kind of got to the point where we developed a lot of trust. He wasn't always there as a coach, so he would write the session out, leave it on the kitchen table. And then in the morning, I would then take it to the pool, give it to the volunteer coach, and we would get the session done. Then in the afternoon sessions after training, he would text me saying, I'm stuck on an oil rig. Here's the main set. If you can get someone to time you, great, or self-time you. And I would turn up on my own to a lanes public session and just do the session on my own. And then I'd try and time it, or I'd try and get some of the lifeguards to time me. Some of the lifeguards were terrified to time me because they didn't want to get it wrong. And then I would feed back. So I had to put a lot of trust in him that he would write the right sets for me based on the feedback I gave him. If I was tired, I had to tell him. Or he'd ask me, you know, do you think you can do this type of set, or do you think you need more recovery? So he kind of had to trust that I was going to be honest. And also he had to trust the fact that I would get in and do the session. Because there were times you think, oh, you know what, I could just not do the set. I could just skip it. But deep down, I knew that I'd feel really guilty. And I'm always quite, you know, if someone tells me to do something, I'll do it. I'm quite a literal person. And yeah, and I guess our kind of relationship has just grown over the years. And I always work with the saying that if it's not broke, why try and fix it? And he's the one person that knows me for so long. He knows, you know, the type of person that I am. He's seen me grow into an adult, and I kind of felt that relationship just works. You know, we have our ups and downs, but I think the main thing is communication, being able to speak to it. And even on the bad days, being able to have that space to get that breather, and then be able to kind of talk again to each other with a little bit more calm and a little bit more sort of open-mindedness and listen to each other as well. It has been a learning curve, but not the worst thing, I could not argue with him because he obviously knew so much more about swimming than I could. So I knew from the word go, there was no point me trying to argue with him. So yeah, it's been a good relationship, and one that keeps developing and changing as we go. And as I say, I think it helps that we've got a lot of respect for each other, and we kind of have grown with that and learned to sort of be, that sort of growth, opened mindset as well. Growth mindset, I think, has been quite important. So.
And just hearing you speak then, I mean, obviously I knew a lot of that, and it's just, I always find it absolutely fascinating because, you know, you have been such a successful swimmer and are one. And, you know, everyone's got their own journey and their own story of how they train and stuff like that. But your relationship with your dad and the trust you have and everything you've just talked about, and the fact that, yeah, you could have just gone, oh, I'll just do 6 when I should do 8 or whatever. And you know, there wasn't even anyone to time you and stuff like that. The fact that you've done what you've done in your career from that is just absolutely amazing. And just, you know, people see on TV the medals, the races where you swim really well, and they never see the background stuff. But then when you hear that stuff, you go from being amazed to just being 10 times more of that. And yeah, no, I think it's brilliant to hear, and I hope the younger people that are watching, you know, really take that on board of like the respect and all that sort of stuff. And you can do it, you know, you really can. You don't have to be in a certain pool or with a certain, you know, facilities or whatever. Okay, we're going to go the other way now. I just wanted to ask you, and this is going to be fascinating, I feel, is the lowest moment you've hit in your career, and what that was like and how you got through it and all that good sort of stuff.
It possibly would have been Rio as well. So Rio is both the highest and the lowest, just because it is just a sheer mix of emotions. You know, so like imagine you're in the call room and you've got 7 of the world's best athletes that you're up against. You've got a reigning Olympic champion who looks terrified to be there, but she's there, she's focused. You've got the Iron Lady, Katinka Hosu, who is in the zone. You know, you don't want her to look at you because she's...
No, I wouldn't. I'd be like everywhere but there.
She's so focused, you know, her legs bouncing up and down. She's just so in the zone. You got Maria Belmonte as well, and she's very, very flexible. I find that she can put her leg up on the wall. She's so bendy. She's got like the splits. and you can hear the Americans before you see them. They're talking to, to each other. You got Basil and Maya Dorado as well, and they're just, there as their unit and supporting and just chatting to each other. So you've got like that mixture of energy and emotions. And then when you walk out behind the block, you don't see the crowd, you don't see the stands. It's just the crystal clear blue water. And everything's gearing up for this one moment. You have your little pre-race routine, the sort of method that you do. Everyone's got their little sort of superstition.
Like yourself silly, most people, yeah.
Yeah, or like me, I always have to crack my neck to the left. Like that's the last thing I do. Once I've rubbed my hands on the block, I've kind of rotated my ankles, I feel like I'm warm. The last thing I do before I'm on the block is crack my neck to the left. It won't go to the right, so I only do it to the left. So that's my little.
Is there a reason for that? That you'll only go one way? Just
I
started
did it.
doing it.
I did it once. I swam well, and then I stuck with
That's
it.
it. No, that's fine. That's enough. That's all you need.
And then when you're on the block, you've kind of got this buzz, and then it just goes deathly silent. Like you can hear a pin drop, and then you get the take your marks, and then the buzzer goes, and as soon as you hit the water, I cannot remember 350 meters of swimming. I just know
Really?
yeah, it just happened.
Wow.
Like you just go into that. Also, you train to the point where you don't need to think. You just swim it. You just swim out of your socks as best as you possibly can. But I remember the last 50 meters because I tumble turned and pushed off and tried to hold as many fly kicks off the wall. And in the 400 medley, you are gasping for air. You're wanting to get to the end of the race because every single muscle's just worked and you're just thinking, come on, this needs to finish now. And I remember seeing, I think, Katinka out in front, and I think it was Maya as well out to the side. And I couldn't really see anybody else. And I thought, okay, there's either someone in an outside lane that might have gone out. I don't know. I can't get too bogged down by this, but I might be in a chance for winning a medal. Let's just get on with it. 25 meters to go. I'm very aware that Maria starts catching up with me. I can see her arms. I can see the flash of her coming down. My lungs are burning, and 15 meters to go. She is now almost level with me, and I'm thinking, oh, come on, I really need to get to this wall. The wall can't come any fast enough. And I choose to not breathe. The last 10 meters, I have my head down, and I reach to the wall as long as my little arms could go to touch the wall. And as soon as I touched, and I remember the first thing was I didn't turn and look at the scoreboard. All I did was just, I was very aware that Maria's block had a light. And in, world champs, they started adding in lights for second and third, one light for first, 50 lights and all that. And I was aware that Maria's light block had lit up. So I was like, oh, okay, so I must have been pretty close to winning a medal. And I looked up at my block and there were no lights. So I thought, okay, so it might have been quite a close race. It might have been somebody on the outside. I remember looking at the scoreboard and then seeing, the first thing I saw was my time, 4:32.15. And I thought, you know what, that's actually the fastest time I've ever gone at Olympic Games.
I was just going to say, those people that are watching that don't know much about swimming, that's fast. That's very fast. Try it.
For my time, I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is really, really good. And then it reshuffles to tell you the order. And then I saw that I come fourth. And I was like, right, okay, fourth. But then it wasn't so much the fourth. It was then how close I was to the third. It was then when I saw that Maria was only 1500ths of a second in front of me. And that's when it hurt. And I remember scanning the crowds and I saw my dad. He was the first person I saw, and he put both of his arms up in the air. And I was hit with
I've got goosebumps.
I was just hit with huge emotion because at one point I just wanted to scream. I just wanted to bawl my eyes out and let out the disappointment, the upset, the hurt. You dream for this moment to be so happy that I thought, that's the best time I'd ever gone. So I kind of came out the pool and I was just fighting back tears because I didn't know what to do with myself. And I remember going around to get interviewed by Sharon, and she just gave me a look where she just felt so sorry for me. And that broke my heart because I was like, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. Please feel happy for me or feel proud. So I did, and I've still not watched back my interview, actually. That's the one thing I haven't, because I was doing my best to put on like a mask to try and be, I guess, this media version of Hannah, trying to be PC, trying to, I wanted to shout, I wanted to scream, I wanted to swear, and I knew that wasn't the right thing. I felt I needed to keep up this persona. So I did my interview afterwards, and all I wanted to do was just curl up into a ball and just cry to let out this huge emotion of being happy but sad at the same time. And I remember Amy and I afterwards, we sat and we chatted until like 3 o'clock in the morning, because neither of us could sleep, and it was one of the best things ever. But I felt so hurt at the end of it. I couldn't come to terms with what I'd done. I felt that my value had completely decreased because everybody moved on to the next day. And even when we got on the plane on the way home, all the medalists turned left into the first class and they got showered with praise and gifts and all that. And then everybody else was on the right. And when we landed, we got the photograph, the awesome photograph of all the Olympic medalists coming out of the plane. But we were still left on the plane and we had to wait, and they all got paraded out, lots of praise, lots of clapping. And then when we came out, everyone had gone, and I just felt so worthless. And I really, really hit this low where I felt I'd worked so hard, and for just, try and get a stopwatch and stop 1500ths of a second, it really is nothing. And that was the moment of, turning left and turning right, and, being showered with praise, and I really struggled to come to terms with that, because I felt I deserved it, I should have got it. And at the same time, I just felt like, well, I kind of had to go back to another mantra that I've been saying in my career, where everything happens for a reason. And I really started being quite cruel to myself in my head, saying, well, of course you didn't deserve it, you haven't done enough, or you're not done the right thing. And I really started nitpicking at every little thing that I was doing. And I just wasn't making myself happy. I was crying whilst I was swimming, and I didn't know what it was. Just switch, and I'd just be really upset, and I couldn't figure out why. And I think I'd tried to bottle it up. I wasn't facing it, and I couldn't talk about the swim without getting really upset and crying. So I had to really kind of be kind to myself, take my time. I guess it was almost like a grieving process, and actually realize that I had to be kind to myself, that I'm worth so much more than an Olympic medal. An Olympic medal doesn't change, it shouldn't change who I am as a person. It shouldn't change the journey that I've had. It shouldn't change the future that I'm going to have. All it is was just a moment in time, and that was the result. And as hard and as barefaced as the facts that was, I had to accept that fourth place isn't going to change. And I had to learn to love it and actually appreciate, there are many athletes out there that get fourth places, and they dealt with it so much better than what I did. And it was, that was probably the lowest part for me, because I just felt so worthless and useless. But since then, I've kind of, I feel so much better and happy to talk about it and proud of it, because it was a huge learning curve for me, and a huge eye-opener as well. And I've learned a lot. It's probably one of my biggest life lessons. So even though it was the lowest part, it was possibly one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because I definitely feel a lot better for it. Or, I can deal with it a lot better now.
I mean, just listening to you, I was anyway, but I'm just so proud of listening to you speak about it and saying, this is how it made me feel. And that, it was rubbish, and this is what I felt, but I've come through it, and it's everything happens for a reason. I agree. I like to believe that as well. And just what a great episode this has been so far. And I'm just so proud of you, Hannah. I think being able to talk like that and open up is fantastic, and people need to hear this. An Olympic Olympian who's come forth feels like that, and everyone can feel like that, no matter what scale they're on. It's all the same emotions for everyone, and it's all real stuff. And the fact you're able to talk about it is brilliant. And fourth the Olympics, hand, that's incredible. And I know you know that now, but it really is. And you're an Olympic gold medalist to me anyway, so suck it. Okay, so outside of swimming, swimming's outside of the box now. What does Hannah like to do in her own time?
I love training my puppy just now. Poppy has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like during lockdown, trying to teach her different things. Like I even taught her how to pack my swimming bag.
Sorry.
Like I chuck all the stuff on the floor, ask her to tidy it up, and she picks each bit up and she can put it in my swimming bag.
Oh.
the snorkel, but and she taught me to get out, especially when during lockdown happened. She had a routine, so a lot of my teammates were struggling to get into a routine. They were, staying up late, sleeping until the afternoon, and then just feeling a bit rubbish and maybe not feeling motivated to do the workouts. Whereas Poppy, 7:30, she needed the toilet, she wanted her breakfast. So I had to get up and, work with her and, let her out for, our one walk a day that we were allowed out as well. So it meant that we weren't cooped up in the house continuously. And just doing anything with the animals has just been amazing. I really, really enjoy working with the animals. I'd love to kind of work towards becoming like an animal hydrotherapist, or just keep working with Poppy for fun. We take her to like a Hooper's class, which is like agility. As I say, keep trying to teach her different types of tricks. At the minute, if she wants to come up on the sofa, we've got like a special blanket, which is in a box. So we ask her, go get your blanket. She'll go to the box and she'll drag it out and she'll come and bring it to us. And then she comes up on the sofa. So, there's little things like that. And it's not just for me. It's like Ewan and I have been able to work together with her as well. So she's brought the best out of the both of us. So working with Poppy outside swimming has been the best thing. I'm really working hard to try and see if I can get her to come on poolside.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, can she time yet? How great would that be?
I'm working on her becoming like a therapet or something, so she can get her jacket and be like an emotional support dog. So
I like that plan. There's nothing wrong with that plan.
A pacemaker on poolside, just get her because she can run quick. Get her running up and down the side to keep up with her. So yeah.
She's got a great life, Poppy. And I love seeing your pictures of her and videos and all that sort of stuff. So that's all great to see.
Oh my goodness, the ones that we had recently, Ewan took some pictures of her in our Hooper's class. She doesn't have a pretty dog face when she runs, and it's hilarious. She gets some moments where you get some really like elegant, because she's a spaniel, and the long nose and the ears, and they look quite elegant. And then there's bits where her face is just like, oh, she's good. So it means I've got a little photo album that if I'm ever having a bad day or having a day where I just feel a little bit low, I can just look at her. She just takes that away. Dogs or animals in general just got this great vibe about them where they can help calm everything down, and the way that they view the world as well. They take every day, they live every day like it's their last. Every day, just as long as they get their food, they get their walk, they get out for toilet, they love you unconditionally. And it's just an amazing amazing partnership that we've got with Poppy. So she's been the best thing ever.
Yeah, they are the best thing to come home to at the end of the day. So I definitely agree there. Right, before we go, I've got a really important question.
Okay.
This is, be careful with your answer now.
Oh no.
This is friendship territory.
Oh dear.
Ruined here.
Oh, okay.
What is your favourite Christmas film? Be careful.
I quite like The Grinch, the one with Jim Carrey in it. For me, it's funny, it's easy to watch. That and the Polar Express. No, sorry.
Yes.
Between the two.
Okay. Yeah, we can continue being friends. It's all good.
It's all good. But yeah, at the moment, as of tomorrow, we're going to start decorating our flats. And Poppy's cage is going to get tinsel. We're going to watch our first Christmas film. I think Ewan's got the choice because it was his birthday the other day. So I think he's wanting Home Alone as his first choice.
Okay, you have to let him have that.
Yeah.
Compromise.
Compromise. So try to watch a Christmas film each day or at the weekends. So yeah, just getting involved with the script.
Amazing. Great answer. Thanks for coming on, Hannah. That's been a great episode. I got goosebumps. I nearly cried about 7 times.
Oh, no.
I just need to go. I need to go and have a nice dinner and just think about how great you are. But no, thank you for joining me. It's been a real pleasure to have you on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.
And thank you for everyone watching. That is the last episode of season 2. I hope you've enjoyed it. And check Hannah out, follow her, like all her pictures, and yeah, we're proud of you, Hannah, and just good luck with everything you do from now.
Thanks. And we're proud of you too. You've done amazing setting up Quigley Sport. It's been great following all the episodes. I've really,
Oh,
really
thanks.
enjoyed it.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. I can finish happy now.
Yay.
Right, thanks, Had. See you soon. Bye,
See you soon.
guys.
Cheers.